Swazula, you drunk eggnog gulpers, how the hell are ya? Well, the new war was released almost, a good 2 weeks ago, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my honest opinions about it, my honest impressions about it, just overall honesty, keeping it 100, you know how I do it. Right after these shameless self-plug messages. Kidding, there aren't any. I ain't got none. Anywho, the new war, let's get the good stuff out of the way really quickly. This isn't going to be a hating video or anything like that, but just as you guys know, I just keep it real. I keep it real. I try to stay realistic and unbiased and as fair as I possibly can. And with that being said, here's my opinion. Let's start off with the good stuff. So in short, everything that we expected to be good was good, yet again. There are some things that DE has always done very, very, very well, and those skills very much shine in pretty much all of their quests that they do. And the new war is no exception to that rule. You have the amazing audio, which I know is a small thing, I guess, but it does really enhance the overall experience. I really like the way the new war was told as a story. I like the way they used different aspects of gameplay, which we'll get into a little bit later, to tell the story and to emphasize the situation. It was really nice. It was well written, despite a couple of plot holes and a few contradictions, but still well written. The voice acting was dope. The overall vibe was dope. The new gameplay was also very dope. It was just overall a really good experience. Full stop. I would say the new war is a good, solid 9 out of 10. And the only reason why I would say that it isn't 10 out of 10 is it even really a big deal? It took me about 5 hours, about exactly 5 hours to play through the new war. I believe I've heard the fastest anyone has done it was 4 hours and 10 minutes, but I could be wrong. I might be confusing things here. But it is a very long quest. Depending on how fast you move through it, it will take you a couple of hours, which is great. But I also kind of feel like that the new war definitely deserved to be longer, which I also said to D.E. Taylor, who showed up in my stream asking about my opinion about it, and that's exactly what I said. Overall, really, really good, really fun, super enjoyable. I just feel like the story and the way that the quest was set up deserve to be even longer. Hell, make it 10 hours if that's what it takes. And I'm not saying like artificially stretch the time just to make it longer, but no, if you think about it, we played as Kal 175, right? And we saw months ago gameplay footage of what the Grineer gameplay is like. And that was it. You never go back to play as Kal again. That story doesn't conclude. Well, it technically does, but I mean, they could have easily gone back and maybe have another witness or something see what happens to Kal, and then that Grineer takes over just to kind of round off that segment of the quest. Things like that. And there were a lot of aspects in the game where we could have gone back to and explain a little bit further, go into a little bit more detail, or, round off that part and whatnot, and it would have been totally fine to have the new war quest last another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't care how many hours, however many it takes to get a nice, rounded, full circle package. It's not what we got. It was a little bit spotty and a little bit, let's get to it and get this thing over with. It feels a little bit like DE was kind of crunching for time, which we all know is always the case with DE, but it's not a big deal. What we have wasn't lame or anything. It was really, really good. So those are all the good things. Now let's talk about the not so good things. And this isn't supposed to be a diss for those of you who like to get butthurt very easily. This isn't me hating on the game or being toxic or anything like that. It's just a common known fact that the only way that you can improve is if you are aware of your faults and, so that you have a spot that you can tackle and improve on. And that's what we're going to share right now in the rest of this video. So my main issue with the new war quest isn't even the quest itself. It's way bigger picture. So let's zoom out for a second, right? So we've been waiting for this quest for 3 freaking years, right? And yes, we know Corona and other shit happens, apparently. Yes, that certainly did throw a monkey wrench into the whole situation. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But that's an excuse that I don't normally like to allow because that affected everybody, not just Digital Extremes. And somehow other gaming companies managed to somehow continue what they were doing without too much of a bump. Nobody I know of delayed shit by 3 years, basically. But that's okay. That's okay. That's stuff from the past. But think about it. We've been waiting for this quest for 3 full years now. So it's been 3 years that DE had time to think about the story and think about what they want to do with it. It's been 3 years that we've been gradually hyped up to the new war quest more and more and more. And what was it hyped up to be? The new war was supposed to be the introduction of the new all-out war that affects everybody, spearheaded by Era, right? So here comes Era assembling this army of sentients from all over the universe, right? And he's out to destroy all of us. He's snatched up by a big mama Lotus, right? And we don't know what's going to happen with her. Are we going to kill her? Or is she going to be good? Is she going to be bad? Nobody knows, right? So here comes this Era who stole our mama, right? And is out to just completely destroy everybody, right? Everything is a threat to Era. It's going to wipe out the Corpus, wipe out the Grineer, wipe out the Tenno. The Infested didn't even hear anything about the Infested during the New War, which I found strange, but also not bad. So it was supposed to be this apocalyptic event. It was almost like Independence Day, right? We knew that when the Sentients arrived, shit's about to go down, right? And it's been 3 years of us expecting that kind of a war. And then turns out, ain't really no war going on anywhere. It was a boss fight, basically. Well, it was a bit of a letdown because nothing that it was hyped up to be actually came through. The quest was good as it was, don't get me wrong. It was really good. I liked it quite a bit. You can go watch my full playthrough if you want to. But there was no all-out war. Nothing in the game felt like all-out war. It was still just our one single solo Rambo Tenno that went up against a couple of bosses and then a final boss, and then that was it. Job well done. There is also no residue that indicates a war took place in the game after the new war. So it's kind of sucky that us as players have been waiting for this quest. And not just a quest, but the introduction, the initiation of the new war, right? That affects everybody, every faction across the universe, so much so that we even put our differences aside and work together against the sentient threat, right? We waited 3 years for this, had a couple of boss fights, and after that we're thrown right back into farming plastids and argon crystals and selling ribbons and shit. Where's the new war? Where is this war? Where did this war take place? You know, yes, you can go out into the plains and you can see a couple of Orphixes lying around and whatnot, but even those have trees growing on them. Please, guys, explain to me, how is it, and this is very nitpicky, I know, but why exactly does an Orphix, a destroyed Orphix that was destroyed during a war just a couple of days ago already have a full-grown tree on it? That makes no sense. It annoys me. I'm sorry, but that just really caught my eye and bothered me a little bit. Not a big deal though. The bigger picture here is we were hyped up to believe that there was going to be an all-out war. We didn't experience anything that resembled a war, and even after the quest, you know, because the quest was the beginning of this war, even after the quest, it feels like there is no war. There is nothing. What the hell? Why do we only play 20 minutes of Grineer, 20 minutes of Vaso, 20 minutes of Teshin, and then those characters are out of the picture? We never go back to them again. A little bit sucky. Now here's what I'll tell you though. I have heard a mix of rumors and some things that were confirmed by Digital Extremes. They had time issues, of course, and they had to cut a couple of things out of what they initially wanted to release. And they are going to start introducing that into the game as the next couple of weeks go by. Now, that is incredibly important because this war is monumental in the Warframe lore, because so far it has felt like all of our lore has been dealing with things from the past. It felt that way, you know? Catching up with the past, blasts from the past, this and this and this and that and yada yada. And all of those loose ends more or less kind of come together and partially are explained during the new war quest, which kind of catapults us into the present. You and me right now at home with this fictional universe out there somewhere with Warframe ninjas, right? We are now on the same page. What happens now is now. We are in the present, which means that Warframe can now develop lore and gameplay into any given direction that they want, pretty much. There's like this floodgate of freedom to create has been opened. At least that's what it feels like a little bit, because we as Tenno, lore related, don't need to worry so much about what happened in the past anymore. Now it's about what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future. Again, lore-wise, right? And I think that if DE capitalizes on that idea and that sentiment and does actually implement some residual new war related content into the game, that would be great. Speaking of new war related content and the future of the game, what does DE have to do now? I think it's a matter of time. DE needs to be very, very, very quick on their feet, because the new war was supposed to bring players back and, at least according to expectation and hopes, keep players in the game. And that has not been the case. Because when you come back to the game and play the new war, the second the new war is over with, you might as well log off. Because after that, all you're doing is leveling 3 or 4 new weapons, probably farming or buying a new Warframe, which are all not all that special. They're good like every other weapon. The Warframe is decent like every other Warframe. Once you're done with that, you can go right back to wherever you came from and ignore Warframe again. And that really sucks. So what DE should have probably done, but okay, they didn't have the time to make it happen. Fair, that's okay. What they should be doing next, though, is putting in the Grineer, the Vaso, the Teshin, and in particular, the Drifter gameplay, okay? Now, I understand and I respect that that kind of gameplay may not be for everyone. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a place in the game. If you think back at how the Drifter played, and it was kind of annoying that after playing the quest that using your bow, nope, can't do that. Go back to using a shitty amp. Okay, cool. Using that disgusting dagger? Nope, also can't do that. Okay, cool, great. So we're back to the same movement that the operators were doing, just with a new skin. Okay, whatever. That needs to be implemented. That needs to be put in the game. And that kind of gameplay opens the doors to allow us to put different kind of content in the game. Many weeks ago, I made a video called Call of Duty Invasions. You could go watch that video if you want to, because the subject I'm about to touch on, I go into detail over there. As you guys know, some of you may agree if you've been playing the game for a while. Some of you will probably disagree if you're somewhat new to the game and you're still distracted by all the stuff to do, right? At some point in the game, you realize that it's just very repetitive and it's basically a glorified Pokemon game. And I don't mean that in a mean, cynical way or anything like that, but Warframe is a collection game. There is no challenge in the game whatsoever, so you're not in it for the challenge. You're basically in it for damage number cosmetics, you know, those red and pink and purple and whatever modified number colors you like to put in there. And for fashion, maybe. And yeah, just collecting more and more junk. And for a long time, me and a bunch of other players have been kind of advocating for Warframe to put in something that is a little bit challenging. It doesn't need to be Dark Souls type difficult, but just something of challenge. The last thing that we had that had some kind of a sort of challenging element to it were raids, and those were removed for silly reasons, but that's a different story. And now, after experiencing this drifter gameplay, I have to say, I told you so, I was right. That drifter gameplay can work in Warframe if you build the world around it, just like I've been saying for years. And if you build the world, the mission around that type of movement, you suddenly have access to a whole new plethora of different game modes and mission types that you could introduce in the game just for variety's sake. I would much rather do a spy mission as a drifter or a drifter-specific spy mission than Warframe spy missions, because Warframe spy missions are silly. You Wukong smoke your way through the whole thing, or you go through there invisible, whatever. There's nothing there, right? But as a drifter, different story. Also brings me to the PvP. Imagine a drifter could pick up a fully modded or unmodded, non-manipulatable, manipulatable? You know what damn word I'm trying to say, right? Boltor or something, and use that in combat against other players. No modding. You can't mod them. They just have their base stats, and that's just where they stay, and drifters go against drifters. This is stuff that can happen someday in the future. I'm just saying it is possible, based off of simply playing as the drifter in that kind of environment. It works. It can work. I guess my most honest opinion, impression, and thoughts about the whole process are these. The quest was dope. The quest did not deliver what it promised, however. Regardless, it was dope. It was very fun. It was very cool. And now, after the quest, being back into that feeling of despair and not having anything to do, and the fact that the quest brought nothing new to do to the game is a little bit tragic, yes. But does that mean that all hope is lost? No, I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of time. I think that with the new war, this marks a dawn of a new time for Warframe. I think that Warframe can very, very well turn a new leaf after this quest, but they have to be quick about it. We cannot sit here and wait for another year or two, I'm looking at you, DE, until Deviri Paradox is released. You cannot expect players to find joy and be invested with platinum and time and their souls for the next 2 years until Deviri Paradox maybe gets released. We can't do that. We need something by March. We need something by May. We need something by August. And I would highly recommend, if that's not already on the table, is first pump in everything that you couldn't pump in during the new war that is missing now, so that we as Tenno actually feel like, oh yeah, a war actually happened, opposed to, oh yeah, it was just a boss fight or 2 or 3, right? Put that in there and do something, for the love of God, do something fun and creative with the Drifter, the Grineer, and the Teshin and Vaso dudes. That was kind of cool. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but goddammit, the variety is there. Not everybody likes Railjack either, and still, Railjack is playable now, and it is pretty decent. Could be way better, but, you know, it works for what it is, you know? Not everybody wants to do Eidolons. That's still there, and also needs to be improved, by the way. But if Warframe doesn't act fast and introduce new interesting things to do ASAP, Warframe is not going to look very good for the rest of 2022. Is the quest worth coming back to Warframe 2? Yes, I absolutely would say so. If you come back, just play the quest just for that experience and then log back off, I don't think you will have wasted your time. It is a well done quest. Personally, I like this quest actually better than the Second Dream, which I didn't believe would ever be the case because the Second Dream was mighty fine, you know? So yeah, those are my honest opinions. If you think that I forgot to touch on anything, not that I was trying to touch on everything that I possibly could, but if you have any opinions that you would like to add, or any opposing opinions, or even better, if you have any ideas for what the game and the devs should do going forward in 2022, please let me know in the comment section. I really like hearing your opinions and exchanging with you guys. If you want to get into a little bit more depth about this, Be happy and free to join our Discord server or show up on one of my streams on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. German time. And we can talk about this. Okay, that's it. That's all for me. I hope you guys have a great start into the new year and a great rest of the new year. I shall see you in the next video or stream. Until then, stay healthy and safe. Peace out. Peace the fuck out. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my shitty channels and fuck off.